Good evening. With the temperatures soaring again today, spare a thought for London's bus drivers. Not only are they often sitting in stiflingly hot cabs, they're also having to be mindful about not drinking too much because toilet breaks can be few and far between. Over the last 6 months, we've been hearing from drivers complaining about their conditions, which include relieving themselves using bottles and jars. Well, now analysis by ITV News London has found there are 6 routes without any toilet facilities. Other routes where drivers have to wait until the end of a long round trip to use a dedicated toilet, and bus companies relying on shared toilets in places like shops and public buildings that can be too far for drivers to get to in the time allowed. Cafe Patter has been getting reaction to our findings from a former driver who has decided to speak out.
They are the people who keep London moving, but with great difficulty and great personal cost, one of which is that all-important toilet break.
People get urinary tract infections, people are dying. I mean, I think most of us deliberately dehydrate ourselves because that is really your only option.
We've spent weeks looking into this issue, heard stories of drivers having to wear incontinence pads while doing their jobs. We've scoured pages of TfL data, gaining a clearer insight into life on the road when a bus driver needs the toilets. After a Freedom of Information request, we've been able to lift the lid, really analyse TfL's operational guide. The first thing which really stood out is that there are 6 bus routes where drivers don't have direct access to toilets. It's a different number from what TfL's head of buses told us last week when we interviewed her. Her assessment was that there are 5 routes without toilet stands.
It was a shock given that we do have toilet facilities on all but 5 routes.
She used to be a bus driver, so she is 100% aware of the conditions.
We shared our findings and Lorna Murphy's interview with Tony, who up until recently used to be a bus driver. Her assessment of her former boss and the situation surrounding loo breaks was rather scathing.
I get so tired of being reassured, verbally reassured, that the safety and welfare of bus drivers is paramount to TfL, because those are weasel words, they are empty words, they mean absolutely nothing. There's a complete disconnect between what she as director of buses believes and the actual reality.
The reality is around 160 bus routes only have toilets at one end. Some routes stretch right across the capital. Basically, that means that drivers have to wait around 2.5 hours before they can relieve themselves. And in hot weather like today, such pressures could be the deciding factor between having a drink or having a wee.
I do find this astonishing that if a route is less than 150 minutes, that's 2.5 hours. So if a route is less than 2.5 hours, she doesn't believe that a toilet is required.
There is also the issue of cleanliness in these toilet stands. TfL says that they're cleaned at least once a day, but drivers we've spoken to say that simply isn't enough.
Everything's so dirty, the floors are filthy. I've had toilets where I've walked in, rolled up my trousers so that I don't get my trousers caught in all the stuff all over the floor. TfL would tell you that all these toilets are maintained, they're cleaned twice a day. I don't know who cleans them.
So those are the conditions in some of TfL's toilet stands, but there are some 44 routes where drivers have to rely on shared facilities, places our FOI has flagged up as hospitals, cafes, even the Natural History Museum. We put the latter to the test. A walk from the South Kensington bus stand to the Natural History Museum and back took around 12 minutes and 31 seconds. It's a tight window, especially if all you have is 15 minutes for your break.
You're at the mercy of a pub or a supermarket. I mean, I'd love to know what all these supermarkets think of TfL just abdicating responsibility and their drivers just wandering in and out. God, if I was running a major supermarket, I'd be in touch with TfL and go,
And so ends this journey. Next stop, how will TfL respond?
Oh, so Gaff. How has TfL responded?
Well, they've once more reiterated that they take drivers' welfare very seriously and that it's vital for drivers to be able to access toilet facilities while they are working. This issue has clearly struck a chord with bus drivers, and it seems with TfL. And the reason I say that, Lucrezia, is because as part of their multi-million capital investment, they've refurbished more than 100 toilet locations. The ones they couldn't refurbish, they've replaced. Today, they've told us that they are committed to improving toilet provision where possible.
All right, Kath, thank you very much. Well, next tonight, London, Thames Valley and Hertfordshire are officially in drought after the driest month on record. It means we're using water faster than it can be replenished, and it can have long-lasting effects on wildlife and the environment. Of particular concern here, what another drought might mean for water quality. Our correspondent Simon Harris has more.
London's parched parks and open spaces like Wimbledon Common have been showing telltale signs for weeks. What was a long period of dry weather is now officially a drought. The capital, along with Essex, Hertfordshire, Berkshire and Surrey, are all affected.
Until the rain really starts to fall and get back onto that land and recharge the rivers and the aquifers and the groundwater, then that's the situation that we're going to be seeing over the coming weeks.
That we're in a drought is hardly surprising. The warning signs have been obvious. Successive heat waves with hardly any rain. The rivers are running low. There are grass fires and there are hosepipe bans. For some Londoners, the perfect antidote to soaring temperatures is a cold plunge. West Reservoir in Hackney is an official open water swimming site.
To live in what people think of as like a big city like London, but then have this amazing oasis just like hidden away it's just wonderful.
It's brilliant getting out in the water, sets me up for the day quite nicely.
Definitely an oasis of calm in a city which feels really hot and overwhelming at times.
I grew up in Norway, so it's quite a normal thing over there. Yeah, in Norway they have a lot of public, open, free lakes to swim in, whereas we're missing that a lot in London, I think.
But there isn't enough open water to meet demand, so City Hall has a 10-year plan to clean up rivers and lakes in the capital.
We've, as part of our plan today, set out 10 locations which will see rapid progress over the next year to 2 years, and that will include more places for Londoners to safely swim.
Thames Water backs the Mayor's plan and says it's contributing almost £2 billion. Few of the rivers and streams in London are currently considered safe or clean enough for swimming, and the drought won't help.
Actually what happens is you've got less and less oxygen in that river, and so that's difficult for fish. They struggle to breathe, and therefore it becomes quite a challenging environment. From our point of view as well, it means that we can't abstract as much from rivers, hence the reason why we're asking customers to use their water wisely.
Declaring a drought goes hand in hand with appeals from the Environment Agency for everyone to use less water. The advice includes shorter showers and turning off the taps when we clean our teeth. Simon Harris, ITV News.
Well, today's announcement comes as we have our fourth heatwave of the summer. More now from ITV weather presenter Philippa Drew.
Well, it has been another exceptionally hot day here in southeastern parts of the UK. Once again, temperatures have exceeded 34 degrees Celsius. That's the 10th time this year, and it far outweighs the 7 days above 34 Celsius back in 1976. And it's all due to hot air spilling across from the near continent, indicated by these deep orange colours here. The good news is it's not quite as long-lasting or as extensive as the last few heat waves. And if you're after something a bit cooler, join me later for the full forecast.
Thank you for now, Philippa. Some other news now, and a 7-year-old boy has become the third member of a family to die after they got into trouble in the water in Essex last week. Musa Ahmed was pulled from the water off West Mersey, where his teenage cousin and her mother drowned. He was being treated at the Royal London Hospital. Samia and Shalina Rahman from Ilford both lost their lives in the incident last Wednesday. Zach Polanski has said he made an inadvertent mistake over a social media image but refused to apologise to Nigel Farage. The Green Party leader and London Assembly member shared a photo of a man wearing a T-shirt featuring the name Nigel alongside an image of a guillotine.
Do you want to take this opportunity to apologise to Nigel Farage?
Well, if I'd done it deliberately, I'd be apologising. But because this was a mistake, I think the important thing is that I point out it's a mistake, that I also make sure that I condemn political violence. And also, crucially, I make a commitment to be better on my social media.
OK.
And thousands of counterfeit football shirts have been seized in a crackdown led by City of London police. Since January, officers have removed more than 220,000 fake shirts and made 6 arrests. London's population has seen its first fall in nearly 40 years, with more than 400,000 people leaving the capital for other parts of the country. Yasmin Bolabai is here with more on this. And Yasmin, this is disregarding the pandemic.
Yeah, it is. So we disregard the pandemic in the figures because, as we know, that was such a particular and extraordinary time for people leaving the capital for a number of different reasons. So if we put those years aside, this is actually the first drop in London's population since 1988. The Office for National Statistics has pulled together the data. They found that in just 1 year, and this is the year to June 2025, over 420,000 people left the capital and moved to other parts of the UK. Now, of course, some people moved in from other places, and that was more than 288,000. So that is a total loss of nearly 132,000 people to other parts of the country.
And that's not the final figure, because there are other numbers to consider. Right?
Yeah, there are. So there's more things in this sums to be done. Some figures go against the grain. So more people are coming to London from overseas than are leaving London to go to live abroad. Births are outnumbering deaths, but those numbers are more than offset by the outward migration to other parts of the UK that we were just talking about. So in total, when you do those sums, London's population fell by just under 27,000. Now, all of this has big consequences. Experts say it could help ease the pressure on the housing market, so possibly bring housing prices down. That would be welcome for some. But less welcome, and this is something that we've spoken about before, is the issue of falling school numbers and potentially schools having to close. So it has big ramifications. Now, just before we wind up, the rest of the country is not seeing this drop. So everywhere else has had a population growth. So London bucking the trend with a shrinking population.
Very interesting stuff there. Thank you. Well, still to come on the programme, we'll have the forecast and things will cool down tomorrow. But before that,
the weather has become so tropical. Take a look at this. They're now growing bananas here.
how changes to our climate are also changing what we can grow in the capital. But first, he has become a controversial figure on the city streets. To some, Diego Galdino is a hero who warns people pickpockets are around. To others, he is a vigilante, making London look like a crime capital to his huge social media following. Last week, the mayor warned people like Diego can cause more harm than good. So what does the man himself say? Well, Olivia Mustafa went to meet him.
Come here stealing, don't come here stealing people.
Caught red-handed. Some are taking justice into their own hands, tackling the pickpockets targeting tourists and ordinary Londoners. Diego used to be a delivery driver, but now he's dedicated his time to a controversial cause.
Watch out, you guys, pickpockets!
Exposing thieves in broad daylight.
Last year, I was in Buckingham Palace, doing my daily deliveries. I saw one girl crying. She said, "Oh, I just got my wallet stolen. It was £300, all my money gone." So I could feel her frustration.
And it's all caught on camera. Footage Diego says he provides to the police as evidence.
Stealing. No stealing.
And uploads to social media.
The difference that we made in someone's life daily for me is very grateful. When the victims shake your hand, when they say thank you very much, bless you.
But not everyone agrees with his tactics, with some fearing his approach could be hindering justice instead of helping it.
There is the issues around police working on undercover. You have to go through evidence. There are specific things that you need to have. You need to understand what they're thinking, but also you need to think about their acts. And sometimes you may compromise an operation.
So some people might say that what you're doing is putting yourself at risk and maybe even other people at risk. What do you say to that?
The first thing that we're going to care is the safety. We're not going to put ourselves in extremely risky, or we don't intend to put the public in general in risk. We doesn't do justice with your hand. We are seeing what's happening, we film, we stop it and bring it then to the police.
The mayor has recently hit out at those framing London as a dangerous city, saying portraying it as a lawless dystopia is a distortion of reality. And the most recent figures from the Metropolitan Police show neighbourhood crime is actually falling in London, down 12% last year compared to the year before. Thefts from a person were down 23%, while personal robberies fell by 11%. But Diego still feels that more needs to be done.
They need to be patrolling and prevent the crimes around. They need to disrupt these people. They need to investigate them properly, The same faces are stealing every single day.
The Metropolitan Police say they remain focused on preventing offending and bringing perpetrators to justice. But as long as there's pickpockets on our streets, Diego believes there's a place for vigilantes like him. Olivia Mustafa, ITV News.
All right, let's find out what is happening on the evening news. Here's Mary.
Coming up on the programme, Andy Burnham pledges to end the care crisis and says for him it's personal. As temperatures spike once again, half of England is officially in drought. And with great power comes great responsibility. Rishi's on the red carpet for the latest Spider-Man premiere. Would you join me for those stories and more at 6:30?
Well, now, my guest tonight is a singer and entertainer who has enjoyed success on a global scale. Grace Kennedy broke into the industry after appearing on talent show Opportunity Knocks. What followed was a string of albums mixing disco and R&B, plus her own TV show back in the 1980s.
When it comes to you, there's nothing I can do. Let mama know.
But it is music that's called Grace back into the recording studio, and I'm delighted to say that she joins us now to tell us more. Grace, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's lovely to have you here. Listen, we're going to talk about your TV show in a minute, but let's first of all talk about the music, because you've had a string of studio albums, haven't you? But you've got another one that's coming out later this year, Desire.
Desire, spelled D-Z-I-R-E.
What got you back into the recording studio?
I think, when my 4 albums were digitalised, that's what really brought me back, because I got some new fans and people saying, come on, get out there and do something.
So basically back by popular demand is what you're saying, Grace, which is a pretty good place to be in, I have to say. I want to hear, we've got one of the tracks, and this is, I know the album's not out till October, but let's hear this track, it's called Strong. Let's have a look at the video.
You got to be strong, strong enough to make up your mind. Keep believing you're strong.
This is a great song.
Thank you.
Great video as well. What's it all about, Strong?
Well, Strong, actually coming back in, I wanted something different, something that was from the heart, and the words are absolutely fantastic. Robbie Taylor and Junior Driscoll wrote this song. Junior Driscoll had Mama Used to Say. Do you know Mama Used to Say?
Yeah.
And my brother Errol Kennedy produced.
Oh wow, so it's a real family.
It's a family thing.
Yeah.
And he was in the group Imagination, had Body Talk, Just an Illusion. So it was so nice to have him produce that outlet.
It definitely feels like that kind of era. We're looking back at it now, aren't we? And it's kind of having a resurgence. It used to be 80s coming back, but I feel like it's the 90s coming back now, isn't it?
Well, I think the 80s and 90s was so good at that time. And I'm an 80s child. I love the 80s. And I feel that some of the songs that are on the album, we tried to capture some 80s in there. My daughter and her friends love the 80s. So they said, Mom, can you put some of those 80s tracks in?
Like, take us back, just take us back. Let's talk about the TV show, because to get a self-titled show on primetime telly, this was Saturday night, pretty big deal back in the day. How did you manage it, Grace?
Well, I was just 20 when I did that. And I'm so thankful, for those shows. I had to learn to dance. I'd never danced before like that. And learn to you know, focus on the cameras, and you know how hard it is. You focusing on cameras.
And for
at
a
20
woman
years
at the time,
old,
a 20-year-old woman, back in the day, to get their own TV show, I mean, that was rare, right?
Yes, it was.
What was the
rare.
industry like back then?
I think it was a lot nicer than it is now.
Really?
Yeah, and you know, being the first Jamaican singer to have her own BBC television series, I was very proud of that. And I want to thank Barry Manilow, because if it wasn't Barry Manilow, actually he became very ill, had the flu, and they had 6 slots, and they came to me and said, "We want you to do all those six shows."
Goodness me.
And that's how I got the 6 shows, because I was only commissioned for 1. And, you know, thank you, Barry.
Thank you, Barry, if you're watching.
Thank you, Barry.
Well, great. So that's been, it just shows you sometimes you just need a little bit of luck.
That's
Listen,
what it's all about.
We wish you
these
the very
days.
best of luck. The new album is coming out 2nd of October. Desire.
Desire.
We'll see when it comes out.
Thank
Grace,
you so
thank you.
much. Bless you.
Well, look, a reminder of our main stories in London tonight. An analysis by ITV London has found there are 6 bus routes without any toilet facilities. Other routes where drivers have to wait until the end of a long round trip to use a dedicated toilet, and bus companies relying on shared facilities. TfL says there is ongoing work on a range of measures to improve health and well-being for bus drivers. And London, Thames Valley and Hertfordshire are officially in drought after the driest month on record. Well, then it's time now for the all-important forecast.
Octopus Energy sponsors ITV London weekday weather, come rain or shine.
Hello there. Well, it certainly has been a hot day out there. Temperatures well in excess of 30 Celsius once again. As we head through the next few days, if you're struggling with the heat, then better news is on the way. It will become a lot less hot over the next couple of days. With it, though, still lots of dry weather, plenty of sunny spells and precious little rain. Goodness knows we need it now. Now, this is how the pressure pattern is looking. We'll have a weak cold front sinking southwards tomorrow. That will introduce somewhat fresher conditions, but it's high pressure that continues to dominate as we head into the weekend, maintaining the dry and sunny conditions for the most part. And it's looking very quiet out there through this evening and tonight. Staying dry, largely clear skies, light winds, perhaps 1 or 2 pockets of mist and fog by dawn. And for all of us, it will stay very warm. In fact, temperatures for most of us holding up in the high teens, lows for some around 18, 19 degrees Celsius. So tomorrow morning, a warm start to the day, perhaps quite a humid feel to things at first. And then as the day wears on, we'll pull in a little more cloud from the north and west. That's tied up with that weak cold front. Ahead of it, though, still quite stuffy, temperatures peaking around 27, 28 Celsius quite widely, 1 or 2 spots creeping just a little higher. But as I said, it's that cold front that will introduce something a little fresher. That will work its way very slowly and erratically southeastwards overnight into Friday, fading away as it does so. So little, if any, rain expected on it. A bit of cloud, yes, but the big change will be in the temperatures. So from Friday onwards, all looking a lot more comfortable, quite a bit less humid, and certainly nights a lot less oppressive for sleeping as well. Take care. I'll see you later.
Octopus Energy sponsors ITV London weekday weather.
Thanks, Philippa. And finally, with all this hot weather and now a drought, it's a bit of a challenge for gardeners. On an estate in Elephant and Castle, residents think they've cracked it, though, putting in the plants and trees that will thrive as our climate changes. Rags Martell has been down to the Rockingham to get some tips and find out how they've made a green oasis in a concrete jungle.
So another hot day in London, but here in Elephant and Castle, the heat isn't that much of a problem. It's now sort of become part of the plan, because if we come down here, we're in the Rockingham estate in South London. The weather has become so tropical. Take a look at this. They're now growing bananas here.
Yes, bananas, thriving in central London.
They're growing at the moment, yeah.
They're small, not quite ripe, and apparently a bit sour.
Can you eat the bananas? Yeah, yes, you can eat the bananas, but they're not tasty. Yeah, apparently they're not tasty, bananas. I've never eaten the bananas.
We're in the middle of the Rockingham estate, Elephant and Castle. And almost in the shadow of the Shard, there's this, what residents call a wildlife park.
This is our biodiversity hotspot, and then because the change in climate, we're now able to grow really interesting things like bananas.
It's becoming like almost a plantation.
It's like a nature plantation. Yeah, quite a special little oasis that you wouldn't even know is here.
But bananas are just the latest fruits of this garden. There are vegetables, flowers and herbs too, all grown by the community.
I'm Winston.
Nick.
Carolyn.
Massimo.
Polly.
Ian.
Marie.
United, there are 50 plot holders who tend and water the greenery, and everyone grows together.
It's just a beautiful place to come, but it just gives an extra depth to the connections that you make across the community.
The bananas might be the headline act here, but the secret to the growth here apparently lies beneath and a geological phenomenon caused by a prehistoric crater.
Back in the last ice age, a crater was formed and gradually peat has accumulated, and it's an exceptional deposit, 19 metres of peat. It's called the Rockingham anomaly. It's a geological wonder really, and we're sat atop of it. So when you walk around the estate, you're actually connected to an ancestral earth.
In 2012, this was just a grubby patch of grass, but residents dug in together to create this special urban garden.
Now, this is all about people coming together, thinking, well, how can we make an improvement? What's the best use of our energy for the greatest good? And that's when we can end up making a new garden together or putting some hedgerows in. So when you bring people together in green spaces, your stress levels decrease, and it means you can think clearly about how you want to use your energy.
Are you going to plan to introduce more bananas next year?
We might introduce more, yeah.
The tropical fruit might grab the headlines, but the real harvest here is something else. A greener estate, a closer community that's learning to live with warmer summers. Rags Martel, ITV News, on the Rockingham estate.
What a beautiful garden it is. And that is all from us for now. The evening news is next with Mary, but for now, from all of us on the London team, bye-bye. Have a great evening.